Good afternoon. I'm Parker Padgett at the Ozarks First Digital Desk, and I kind of want to talk to you today about the Olympics. We remember the Olympics from, well, it depends on how long you remember watching the Olympics, but every once in a while they try to introduce new sports. You know, we saw last year breakdancing was the one of the bigger anticipated events for the 2024 Olympics, but we're looking towards the future. We're looking at the 2028 Olympics and the introduction of flag football. And so what's interesting about this concept is there's already USA flag football programs, people playing professionally to an extent, but the NFL this week came out with a an approval for NFL players, the best of the best in the world, to play flag football for the Olympics. Now, there is a caveat, so only one player from each team can play. So, for example, for America, and I know it's 3 years from now, but hypothetically, if it was tomorrow, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce both could not play for Team USA because they're both from the same club. And it's a measure to reduce the amount of potential injuries and insurance going forward for the next year. But also, from what I've read, there's a caveat to where, so hypothetically, if there was a Chiefs player from a country outside of America, they could play for their nation on top of St. Patrick playing for the team. But it'll be interesting to see if that's addressed in the future, if that's laid out more clearly. Right now, it's just more of a hypothetical. But right now, I know it's 3 years out, but what I'm going to do is I want to tell you what I think Team USA should look like in LA in 2028. So, just to give you an idea, it's 5 players on each side of the ball. 5 players on offense, 5 players on defense. There are 3 positions of the 5 players on either side of the ball. So, offense, the quarterback, who can only run past the line of scrimmage after first handing the ball off and receiving a lateral, or going out for a pass. So you can't do quarterback sneaks, you can't do quarterback draws. So this is a situation where I mentioned. Actually, let me go through the positions first, and I'll tell you who I think will be on, or who I think should be on the team. So that's the quarterback position. Then you have the center, who hikes the ball but can immediately go out for a pass after snapping it. And just for context, all of this information comes from CBS Sports. And then the third position is wide receiver or running back, and that person can line up as a standard running back or wide receiver. So you got 3 positions in total, but 5 players filling those 3 positions. Defense, you have a rusher who can rush the quarterback from 7 yards off the line of scrimmage. So that's going to be interesting to see. And then you have the defensive back, who is kind of like the traditional NFL cornerback. And then you have the safety, who is for lack of a better phrase, the last line of defense, the safety blanket. And then also some rules for the Olympics. The field is 70 by 25 yards. The games are 40 minutes long with 2 20-minute halves, 4 downs to reach midfield, and then 4 downs to score a touchdown. So you really only get a maximum 8 plays, I believe. Unless I don't know if there's penalties, but obviously we'll cross that bridge when we get there. No run plays within 5 minutes of the end zone, meaning that no quarterback sneaks, no quarterback draws. And then overtime, if the score is tied, with each team getting an equal chance to win. So with that being said, I understand that 3 years from now things could look a lot different from the NFL, and I've tried to take that into account, but let's go ahead and get started. So for the quarterback, this one's kind of a toss-up, and it's really dependent on what USA. It's really dependent on what Team USA wants to do. If they want a quarterback to simply just throw the ball, I have Patrick Mahomes. Top of his game, he'll be in his early 30s by 2028, which I think, given today's dietary restrictions and workouts and efforts and training, it's a lot easier to play in your 30s than it was 30 years ago. But if Team USA wants to go into a running style offense, which again, you can't do a quarterback sneak for a quarterback draw, but if the quarterback can run past the line after handing the ball off or receiving a lateral or going out for a pass, get Lamar Jackson out in space, see what happens. He's very famous for making people miss. The center I have down here, I'm thinking tight end or big body wide receiver. So in this situation, if we're going tight end, the best tight end in the game right now, no offense to Travis Kelce, but we're looking 3 years in the future, is either Brock Bowers, maybe Sam Laporta out of Detroit, and then if they wanted to go for the big body style receiver, I'm thinking DK Metcalf out of Pittsburgh. That is a X-type receiver, go up and get the ball, and obviously large enough to, it's a possession situation. The wide receiver and running back, this one Team USA has a good problem when it comes to this because you've got so many elite athletes that are not only fast but agile. This is a game where you're not going to see 80-yard touchdown passes. They're going to be 5 or 6 yard passes, and then the wide receiver is going to go to work. So, for example, I've got Jamar Chase. That is a very excellent pick. Justin Jefferson from the Vikings. And then one name that's been popping up a lot lately with this specific scenario is Travis Hunter, the rookie drafted to the Jacksonville Jaguars this past April. He plays cornerback and wide receiver. And so hypothetically, if Team USA picked him 3 years from now, they would have almost an extra roster spot to play with because he would play on both sides of the ball. Running back wise, if they wanted to go running back, there is Bijan Robinson out of the Atlanta Falcons, but I also think James Cook might be a sneaky pick here. He's a really good possession type running back, very good catching the ball out in the flat and in space, making defenders miss. But I do want to reserve a spot for a future college star, and I say future college star. There's two major names in the college league right now, but we have no idea what it's going to look like 3 years from now. There could be a rookie coming out in the draft that gets picked, or maybe a junior or sophomore at the time, and is so good that Team USA can't pass it up. Kind of like the Christian Laettner on the Dream Team situation. He wasn't in the pros, but he was still selected, and so I have no idea who that person is. In terms of funny trade talks from the MLB, it's a person to be named later. But I think if I had to narrow it down, I think I'm going to go Mahomes. I'm going to go DK Metcalf. I'm going to go Jamar Chase, Travis Hunter, and then I think I'm going to skip on the running back and just go with the future college star. And the reason I'm saying that is because I don't know if Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson will both commit to this. They could. They're both from separate teams, but I do know that there's also going to be financial implications too if you get injured and you can't play. That affects your contract status, things like that. So there's a little bit of a risk with this sport. So defense. We talked about, rushers, defensive backs, safeties. Looking at this, I'm going Penn State for rushers, and I'm looking at the breakdown of the positions, and I'm thinking you can either do 1 to 2 rushers or 1 to 2 safeties, depending on which team you're playing. If they're more pass dominant or if they're more, short game dominant. But I'm thinking if you have to go 2 rushers, I'm going the Penn State combo. Abdul Carter, he's the rookie that was drafted very early back in April, and then Micah Parsons out of Dallas. I feel like those are 2 very fast, very agile, very quick players that can get back in the backfield quickly or can make a quarterback nervous and make him make a wrong decision. Defensive back, I mentioned Travis Hunter. There's also Patrick Surtain II. He did win NFL Defensive Player of the Year last year. Another name that's been popping up lately is Cooper DeJean from Philadelphia. I personally, if I had to pick 2, I'm going Travis Hunter and Patrick Surtain II. But Travis Hunter, again, that's really because he adds that dual threat, and you have an extra roster spot to play with if he needs to take a break or something. And then safety, I looked at Pro Football Focus for this one. And Pro Football Focus looks at grades. They grade you on plays that you make, plays that you don't make, plays that you could have made, all of that. And the number 1 Pro Football Focus rated safety of last year, entering his prime, is Kerby Joseph out of the Detroit Lions. And so I picked him just because he's a proven elite athlete at that level. Another person suggested Kyle Hamilton. I don't think Kyle Hamilton was born in America. He's posted on social media, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe I saw it on social media that he had, at least mentioned on X that he might play for his home country. So that would take away that option. But I know it's 3 years from now. But sports fans, what do you think the Team USA would look like? Do you think that this is a dream team scenario like in basketball? Kind of talk to me what you think. Sound off in the comments.